This is the KASPA Crypto 1-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently January 8th, 2025, 11:14 p.m. Eastern Time. KAS at the time of this reading is currently 0.11497, or just below, just a little bit over 11 cents USD. And the shuffle video for the KASPA reading was created on October 3rd, 2024 at 4:55 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're new to the channel, guys, what we go over in these one-year videos is the overall trend direction for the year, any important events that we might see taking place. We talk about chart behavior having to do with the year's highest high. We have chart behavior having to do with the year's lowest low. Normally we'll go back and we'll do a review of the prior year's reading, but this is the first KASPA reading. So then all of that's followed by week chart behavior. And then we give you one of the best trades that we see. It's important to understand, guys, everything that I talk about in this interpretation is going to be on the scale of a 1-year chart with 1-day candlesticks, unless otherwise specified. It's also important to understand that when I get into the sequence of chart events, it's important that you're paying attention to the sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction. Our timing to the week is usually on point, but there could be cases where we're plus or minus as much as like 3 weeks. So you have to account for that. Sometimes there's wiggle room needed, but the sequence of events will remain accurate nonetheless. So that's how we stay on track. And really, the smartest thing to do is just to watch this video as an expectation of what's going to happen, but not trade on this information. It took me probably 17 years to figure out how to actually make money trading this. It's such a different way to go about it. But with that said, I've been doing this for 25 years now. We have a live Discord. We have live Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts, all as part of the subscriptions some of the subscriptions that we have on the channel. So I'll show you how to get that stuff if you're serious about trading SO meta-analysis information. That's really the game changer. Anybody who's serious is going to be getting those subscriptions. That's where if I'm wrong about a timing on something, I'll be able to calibrate, to recalculate based on what I see in the reading, what's transpired throughout the year in real time. And the only people that see that stuff in real time are the people with the Discord trade alerts. Again, I'll show you how to get that at the end of the video. So let's get into it. All right, so the overall theme of behavior is notably bullish, at least throughout the beginning of the year, notably bullish with a significant move to the upside, probably second quarter, and then a sharp drop third quarter. Fourth quarter is kind of up for discussion. We'll look at it more closely as we progress through the reading. But this bullish behavior we should see a lot of bumping along resistance sideways before breaking through, bumping along resistance sideways some more, or maybe breaking through again. The majority of the behavior is going to be, for the Valor cards, is characteristic of bumping along resistance sideways. It is, however, crossed with the Empress card, indicating a sideways fluctuating decline preceding a rally at least once in the year of 2025. Usually the Empress card is a really notable opportunity for like an entry into a growth position. You know, it's like it's a fertile opportunity, if you will. Behavior around the highest high, we've got a period of volatility and a sharp drop that'll stand out in that period of volatility. It looks like there should be a notable move into the high, so that'll stand out as well. And out of the high, or within close time proximity to the high, should be a decline, sideways fluctuating decline preceding a notable rally. So it might be that we see the high twice in that volatility. Hard to say. We'll have to look at it in more detail as we progress. But you can also count on that notable move to the upside, offering opportunity near the high at least once to open up shorts or close longs. And the behavior around the lowest low, there's an important resistance level. So the Ace of Swords is not the most natural card to see in the low signification position. Usually what it's indicating in that position is that there's an important resistance level. In the case of a 1-year reading, this is a resistance level that's important at least on a 1-year chart scale, could be on a multi-year scale. And the low will be within close time proximity to that resistance level. Usually what will happen is we'll decline from that resistance into the low, and then we'll return back to that resistance at least once. And usually there's a lot of price change involved around the Ace of Swords. pretty tricky to read in the low signification position. This is something that I'd really like to see a multi-year reading in cross-reference with this. However, I haven't had time to do that yet. Best way to get that done is to order it, because then I'm forced to do it, you know. So also supports the channel. But in any case, let's get into the week-by-week chart behavior. Again, guys, remember, this can be plus or minus as much as 3 weeks on the wiggle room. And the reason for that is that these cards going left to right across the screen in the center of these clusters of 4 cards, right? These are timeline cards. Each card represents about 2 weeks of time, but not each card's energy will necessarily line up perfectly with 2 weeks of time. So the sequence of events will be very, very on point. The timing usually on point, but again, you have to be careful. Trade responsibly. Don't trade like a fool. It doesn't matter how right you are. If you trade like a fool, you're going to lose money. People lose money being right all the time because mentality. So remember that, my friends. All right, so let's get into it. So in early January, we've got a near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. A lot of price change covered in that first week of January. There's a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale there in January as well, in early January as well. And I'm actually going to go and I'm going to look at what we've got going on for January thus far, right before I give you one of the best trades that I see for the year towards the end of the video. So near the January low, we have a decline to and through support to meet another support, and then we rotate sideways along that second support. Around the end of the third week, big move to the upside. There's a prominent trough near the January high. There's a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale. There's also a prominent trough in later January. The January high will form when there's a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple support levels, likely into that trough. And that January high is probably like the third week of January based on what I'm seeing here. An important trough on a 1-year chart scale right around the cusp of January, February. A big move to the upside in early February to reach for a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale. Significant move to the upside, and then we should see some sort of tricky chart behavior near the February high. Either it's going to make us look like we're going higher, or more likely there's like multiple false tops, or some sort of back and forth like whipsaw action, back and forth kind of sideways rotations near the February high. So be very, very careful of that. And then we have a lot of price change involved in the February low, which I think is very likely to be there on the cusp of January, February. A lot of price change into and or out of that support level highlighted as the ace of discs for February's low, which again, an ace is usually on the scale of a 1-year chart scale. It's at least relevant on a 1-year chart scale, but it could be even more like a multi-year. And then in the later part of February, we have a sideways fluctuating rally preceding a notable decline that'll take us into a period of sideways rotation in early March. In that period of sideways rotation, we should see a sharp drop that'll stand out, and that'll take us into a prominent trough on the 1-year chart scale. An important support level on a multi-year scale highlighted near the March low, which is likely early March. We have a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale at the March high, and there's 3 pokes through the same trend line. Usually it's horizontal with the star card, but sometimes on a larger time frame reading, like a 1-year, it could be to an angle to the downside or to the upside. Hard to say. But what you can look for is 3 pokes through the same trend line, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke. And it looks like from that sideways rotation in early March, probably right around mid-March, there's a rally, pretty significant rally, taking us into a March high in like the second half of March. Be careful, out of that March high, there should be a notable move, one of the bigger declines of the year there, the Universe card being the biggest decline card of the deck. Decline in early April will end with a fast sudden move higher, probably end of the first week. Hard to say, but probably. Prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale at the April low, which is most likely going to be there in early April. And then that fast sudden move higher takes us into the April high, where we have a pop and then like a full retracement and move back down. The later part of April, we've got a rally offering opportunity, open up short close logs. I'll talk about in more detail in the total access version of this video, where we get into the timing to the week of the highest high for the year and the lowest low for the year, and give you all of the best trades that we expect to see throughout the year, along with that Discord trade alerts and live updated trade view charts. Again, wait till the end of the video. I will show you guys how to get that. Super game-changing services. The April low will form when out of a crest there's a decline, out of an overbought crest there's a decline out of an overbought crest there's a decline through multiple support levels into a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale as the April low. And it looks like there might be some really sharp chart behavior. It's hard to say if it's like a drop and then a pop, or there's a lot stacked on top of each other in like the second week of April, so be very mindful of that. And then right at the end of the third week there should be a pretty sharp drop from that peak. In early May we've got a rally out of a prominent trough. There's a rally along a diagonal trend line, breaking through one resistance, meeting another resistance, and then pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. The May high will form at a key technical, it'll be like the upper end of an important range on at least a 1-year chart scale. The May high there. That doesn't mean it's going to be the high for the year, but it could mean that. It could also just mean that it's an important range there that stands out when you look at a 1-year chart. There's several ranges, right? But I think it could be the upper end. Hard to say. I'll look at it in more detail on the total access. The chart behavior around the May low, we have a rally halted by a decline through key support into another prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale. Sideways rotation in the later part of May, then a fast sudden move higher, and then more sideways rotation at a higher price level with a prominent peak in the, on a 1-year chart scale in the later part of May. Rally in keeping with momentum moving forward into the month of June. A U-shaped dip near the June high. Usually the Priestess card will indicate two peaks. So it could be like a double top for the month, or it could be like a peak at the beginning. It's probably like a double top of some kind. Behavior around the lowest low for the month of June. We've got a notable move to the upside, a breakout, probably bumping along resistance, and then we break through it out of the lows. The later part of June, we've got sideways rotation, ending with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into an important technical price level on at least a 1-year chart scale, probably on a multi-year scale in the first week of July at a prominent peak. There's some notable price swinging or sideways fluidity, which usually is like up and down, equal amounts of bulls and bear in the early part of July, probably off of sideways rotation with those price swings along like an important support. The decline into the July low will start from a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale. It'll take us into the July low, and that'll be the revisiting of a support level that was recently a past opportunity. The July low is also within close time proximity to a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale. There's an important technical price level on a multi-year scale highlighted at the July high, and then we have another prominent peak towards the end of the month of July. Probably more of like a crest, and that'll turn over into a sharp decline around the cusp of July into August, where we have a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale, and out of that peak, out of a decline, creating that prominent. Sorry, we have a prominent trough in early August. Excuse me, guys. I apologize for the lack of editing. So a prominent trough in early August. It's a decline off of a sharp decline starting off of a peak or crest in the later part of July, taking us into this prominent trough in early August, out of which there's this big move to the upside, likely starting out of some sort of scary chart behavior. Sideways rotation near the August high, which most likely is going to be in the later part of August. The August low will be important trough on a 1-year chart scale minimum, and then in the later part of August, we've got, starting out of a decline, a big move from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range, taking us to that peak there at the end of the month. We've got sideways rotation in early September, a lot of volatility near the September high, which will be within close time proximity to a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale. There's a sharp decline, like a vertical drop almost, mid-month of September, and then a notable reversal that'll stand out on a 1-year chart scale at the September low, with a big fast sudden move higher in the later part of September, creating a peak likely on the cusp of September-October. If it's not on the cusp of September-October, then very likely it will be like mid-October be the alternate. But probably there's a peak there on the cusp of September-October, and then from that peak, which will stand out on a 1-year chart scale, there's a sharp decline into a trough and an October low, probably the third week of October. There's an important resistance level highlighted near the October low, and likely will flatten out near that resistance level, at least temporarily. There's also a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale within close time proximity to the October low, a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale within close time proximity to an October high, and it looks like there may be two peaks. Whoa, Whoa. Okay, there's like a really fast drop and pop there taking place. Like the second week of October, sharp drop into third week of October low, and then a big pop right back to the highs that we dropped from by the fourth week of October, it looks like. And that makes sense. We've got that full card in early November. Usually that indicates some sort of really improbable opportunity taking place. There is a possibility of a peak there in early November as well on a one-year chart scale, but early November and late November both have a prominent trough on a one-year chart scale. A lot of price change there in early November. Looks like we revisit a support level that was recently a past opportunity there, and there's a lot of price change into the November low, into and or out of the November low. It looks like there's a really notable opportunity there. Yeah, the November low, I'm seeing that in quite a few of the altcoins. There's a pretty significant opportunity taking place there in November. And then the resistance level in the later part of November will decline from that into a prominent trough on a one-year chart scale and then return to that resistance at least once, most likely in November. If not in November, then very likely it would be in December. It could be both. And then off of the November high, we have a decline through multiple support levels. So a lot of price change there from the peak in early November. And then in early December, we've got a rally into key resistance. We turn around briefly after meeting that resistance, and we decline with a full retracement and some back down from where the rally into the resistance started. The December low, there's a huge move to the upside, probably one of the biggest moves of the year out of the December low, pushing the upper end of a range higher. And later in December, we've got an unexpected move to the upside, taking us into a peak, notable move higher into the December high. And then for the sneak preview for 2026, we've got a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. All right, so I'm going to give you one of the best trades, but let's take a quick look and see how we're doing thus far for January, since that's already kind of partially started, or partially completed, I should say. So we got this decline here. January high was a brief peak. So far was a brief peak that's easily missed. But my sense is that January high may still be ahead of us, right? There's like a trough in early January and a trough in late January, like on the cusp, with a high in mid-month. And we should be able to recognize the low for January when we see this sideways rotation. So overall, this isn't this is doing pretty well. A little tricky with this devil card, but we'll come back and we'll look at this throughout the year. Whenever somebody asks us on a live, or when we come up on one of the trades that we expect to see taking place, we'll be doing live Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts, all that stuff in the Total Access subscription, which I'll show you how to get right after we give you one of the best trades that we see for the year. Okay, so this low here on the cusp of January, February is a notable buy opportunity. You would look to open that at a lowest low thus far, right around the cusp of January, February. There'll be some tricky chart behavior, probably making us think we're going lower or something to try and scare us. But then there's this huge move to the upside in early February where you could close out of that long position. Or if you miss that, you likely have an opportunity in late March or an opportunity in late April. I like to have backups, which is not something you can really do with any other form of analysis other than SO meta-analysis, because you can't see the future with these other ones. So, you know. So again, guys, you really don't want to trade this information on your own. I really don't recommend doing that at all. I made a lot of mistakes figuring out how to trade this. It cost me a lot of money before I started making it. You don't have to go through that. I've got 25 years of experience and a live Discord with chat channels for all these different cryptos and tickers. People ask me questions at all times and days, hours of the day. They're all over the world, and I get back to them as soon as I can. But if you insist on trading this information, I would say look for the entry chart, the chart behavior leading into the entry of this trade. And if the chart behavior leading into it isn't as expected, then that would be an indication not to enter the trade. And that chart behavior will be right around the cusp of January, February. You want to see a lowest low thus far and a scary situation making us think we're going lower. At a lowest low thus far with sideways rotation after at least two important support levels that we break through, that's where you want to enter into it. If you don't see that chart behavior going into it, don't do it. And then you want to exit after a big move, taking us to a highest high thus far for the year of February. So lowest low thus far for the year on the cusp of January, February, highest high for the year in probably the third week of February, with backup in late March and backup in late April. But rule of thumb when trading this information, guys, you want to go with the earliest exit every time. They're called backup exits because they're for necessity only. All right, my friends, that's KASPA for 2025. Let me show you guys how to get those game-changing services. Much love and appreciation to everybody watching. All right, so you go to our website, tarotfortraders.com. Hover over order now. Well, first off, you have to sign in, which you just create a username and password with an email. That's it. We're not selling your information. And so you go to hover over order now, click on subscriptions to get total access. That's our premier service. This is $500 a month, and it gets you access to the paid videos of all of these crypto and ticker symbols, as well as a bunch that haven't even been updated to this list yet, and any 2026s that have come out or are coming out. And it gives you access to all of our content, along with the live Discord trade alerts where we tell you entry and exits, as well as the live trading view charts where we actually draw entry and exit. Total access gets you access to the monthly predictions that we cover in monthly access as well. That's by the month, day by day chart behavior, predicting highs and lows to the day for these tickers and cryptos here. So all of these tickers and crypto are covered, and a bunch that aren't even on the list yet, as well as S&P 500 where we often do day trades. Much love and appreciation, everybody that goes ahead and does that. It's definitely worth it. I mean, those are game-changing services. It doesn't get much easier to trade properly. I mean, how much easier could it get? So with that said, guys, much love and appreciation. Blessings to all my angel investors. If you don't know what that is, guys, angel investors are people that follow the rule of karma for the channel. It's one of the main purposes of the channel. 5% of all profits from information on this channel should be donated forward to one of these charities. That's what we're expecting you to do. We're not asking you to do this. We're expecting you to do this. I mean, it's a code of honor. And the people that follow that code they stand out amongst everybody else because there's so few of them. They're beautiful, beautiful people, and I consider every single one of them my friend. 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel through one of these links. Leaves you with 90%. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you're fulfilling the channel's purpose. The universe considers you an angel investor of the channel. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. You're also making it valuable for me to continue doing this, because we're helping transmute the negative energy of the stock market into goodwill. Blessings. I'll see you guys on the next one.